Okay, we lost. Losing isn't good. Losing is bad. However, I do wish some of the West Virginia fans would learn a little bit about football and thinking before they talk, or even after they talk. Mostly I wish a lot of them would just shut up. And that goes for some of the commentators as well. I think this game does give us a fairly accurate picture of where the team stands right now. What does that mean? Well, in general, it means they're not as bad as the naysayers have been saying for months upon months, and they're not as good as some of the people were saying when the team was 4-1. Also means that most of the teams in the Big 12 that got off to a rough start aren't as bad as they appeared. And the Big 12 really could be called the any given Saturday or any given week conference, as UCF nearly showed today. And we've had generally bad luck the last couple of weeks. That happens. Got to be good enough to overcome bad luck. And right now, West Virginia isn't quite. Offense, okay, let me backtrack. I'll be fair. Let me look at the questions that I asked for the video before. Milam and Burks were back. Played well. Burks was very active. That was very good to see. And it definitely affected the defense positively. There was more activity, more pressure. Not enough. Pressure got there sometimes. Sometimes was a tad slow. Sometimes pressure wasn't used. I think that still has a lot to do with having Cutter in as linebacker. I think his 1 year less of experience compared to Lathan still affects, it has a ripple effect on the rest of the defense. There are some things they won't do with Cutter in there, and then that means there's some things they maybe can't do with Floyd. In general, it just affects some of the aggressive choices. How much that may improve over the season, I don't know. The one advantage is that Cutter is the freshest guy in the back 7 or 8. Don't know. Austin Cave seems to be progressing. Is he going to play? We're not seeing Favris or Beiser, so I guess the faith in them just isn't that high. But then again, Koba had a stupid penalty today, so I think we might be better off resting him a little bit, getting him sharper, even if it means risking some big plays. We're getting the big plays anyway. So I think the defense is tired. As I said, the guys, we've got a defensive line that can rotate all the time. But when everybody else is playing almost every down, and I think some of these guys may have played every down the last 3 or 4 games. And man, you just don't have a lot left in the tank almost from the beginning of the game. And clearly that hurt late in the game. The defense wasn't quitting. They were just worn out, not in terms of the game, but in terms of the season. And of course, that a lot of that comes back to the injuries we've had. Also to having, Spells and Wilson Lamp just don't seem to be developing as corners. Wilson Lamp had a good, or at least a better day on the special teams, despite getting blocked into the punt returner, which evidently is a legal play since the two guys were engaged. He wasn't just standing still. I think that needs to be changed, but it is apparently the current rule. But we have to get some guys in there on defense. And unfortunately, we don't have them right now. Don't blame the coaches. They brought players in, they brought good players in. And Trotter, Cobb, Miller, all out for Lathan, all out for the season at the spots where the defense was thinnest. It's not an excuse, it's a reality. Now, again, I don't know why the younger players haven't developed as expected. Maybe it is the coaches. I doubt it. They've done well in so many other ways. So, Spells is still young. Don't know where his head's at. We'll find out. On the offensive side, oh man, started slow. But we saw the Preston Fox we've heard about. Man, you cannot be unhappy with Preston Fox. And don't tell me, oh gosh, he dropped a couple early in the season. Yeah, he did. It happens. He got pushed in the back on a very clear, blatant pass interference that knocked him down. Wasn't called, and he still caught the pass. He caught a second pass while falling on his back. Preston Fox is the real deal. I want to celebrate that. Horton came through. Clement in a walking boot. I'm sure it'll be a while before we know how serious. Sucks, as well as his season was starting to go. But again, the coaches hit with Horton. Ray is coming along. Still not sure why Gallagher isn't getting downfield passes, but he's a freshman. Come on, he's ahead of where he reasonably would be expected to be. Green continues to show that he can throw the deep ball. The touchdown pass to Dixon was while rolling to his left. And it was a sweet pass. We started to see progress in the running game, particularly with Johnson. And they did narrow, the rotation down pretty much to Donaldson and Johnson. White was in a little bit, but I don't think he had any carries or touches. Johnson got to the outside successfully and had a nice 17-yard run up the middle. So we've got that progress going. We can't get so far behind that we can't make use of it. The biggest thing on offense, biggest negative, was that fourth down play, and I don't know what happened. It was, as far as I could tell, the blocking assignments were just botched. had one guy come in completely unblocked right at green and had 2 or 3 others not far behind. Something went seriously wrong on that play. Was it just that Oklahoma State figured the call? That doesn't seem especially likely. You would still expect some guys in there at least missing blocks. But the blockers weren't there. Something went wrong. We may or may not get an explanation of just what happened. That is not necessarily what changed the game. It was late. Don't know that we would have managed to tie the game. Of course, that was the same drive we had another pass interference that wasn't called. But you have to play well enough so that the bad breaks don't decide the game. We're very close to being there, and that's what a lot of the fans don't understand. Of course, they don't understand where the program had to start from and why it has taken this long. But we have things in place, except for depth in a couple of positions, most of which is now being caused by injuries. It's not because we're losing guys in the portal. We won in the portal this year. We did. We lost in the injury lottery. Thank goodness, I have to say it was a wide receiver we lost this time for however long, because by golly, actually we do have wide receivers. Guys who can get open and catch the ball. Enjoy that. Believe it. We have seen it for 2 games in a row. We have seen it from multiple receivers. So, that is solid. How the season goes is going to depend on what the defense can dredge up. It's going to take getting somebody in there. It's going to take some play design, some coverage design. I'm not sure why Floyd wasn't as active this game. I suspect it goes back to Cutter being in. That is something they got to work on. I am hoping the pressure will be more active next week than this week, and that will progress. But of course, tired players can't successfully bring pressure. And weeks ago, I started talking about the problems of having the defensive backs play so many downs, especially the corners. Then it became the safeties as well. Then it became linebackers as well. I like the team. I like what the coaches are doing. And we are better than people said. If not for the injuries, we'd be a lot better than people said. Were we ever going to compete for the conference championship? Nah. There were too many things that could go wrong, and the margin for error still too small. And that's the thing right now. It's a good team with a very small margin of error. Last week, the team did not play well, and they lost. This week, they mostly played well, but they played tired. And of course, tired, you do make more mistakes. I think that affected a lot of the tackling. Beanie Bishop has played way too much. Last week he was a step slow. This week he was half a step slow. And you know, I don't know how to fix that unless the younger players step up. But it is not a coaching problem. The coaches have done well. There are still some shortcomings that can't be fixed instantly. The fixes are partly already on the team, and the fixes are coming. Now that again, that's depth, and depth. That's the only issue with this team at the moment, is depth. Now it also, I don't know how much it hurt. Lance Dixon was not dressed for the game. Word is there was a problem, not injury related. Been a lot of unsubstantiated rumors that you shouldn't listen to, but there is evidently a problem of some type. I don't know if it's something with the rules or what happened. Dixon's been an up and down issue since he got here. Always on the verge of fulfilling his potential and then slipping somehow. So we will have to see. There are other players, other options at Spear. They're young. And so, McLaren is going to be playing more. I don't know if Collins or Stokes got in at all tonight. I'll have to check the stats when they come out. And next week we have UCF. A week, go back to the beginning of the season, and a lot of people were calling UCF a loss. You look at the first few weeks of the season, people were calling it an easy win. Now you look at UCF versus Oklahoma, and you just don't know. Like I said, the teams have been coming together, and unfortunately they've been coming together just before West Virginia plays them. Happened with Houston, happened with Oklahoma State. Looks like it might be happening with UCF. And we're going to have to find something extra. Somebody coming back from injury. Davis Mallinger, by the way, was dressed tonight. Maybe lose Clement, gain Mallinger. Of course, he has not played. Do not know what condition he's in. Don't know when he will actually be ready. But he was dressed. So, some positives are happening. Tonight, for the second week in a row, sucked. But good things are there. Fans need just a little more understanding and patience. And I know those are two things that people sometimes find rather difficult to find. But do what you can. Believe in this team. They are a good team. We have good coaches doing good things. It will come together. I said at the beginning of the year the floor was 7 wins, the ceiling was probably 9 wins. I'm sticking with it. I 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins. What do we? How many games do we have left? 5. That makes 9 wins a little less likely, but not impossible. I think 7 is the likely point. Okay, I will see you later in the week, and hopefully we will have some positive things to talk about, and I expect we'll have some negative things to talk about. I'll see you then.